So there is this paradox. The better we are as managers, the more we tend to doubt ourselves, because good managers are prone to reflection. Also, managers appear so confident. You look at them and it feels like they know what they're doing and you are the only one who don't get it. But in reality, most of them are feeling the same way. It's just in the corporate world, we're kind of not used to discussing it. And because of that, the feeling of anxiety appears because it feels like everyone has it together and not us. And if you hear the snoring, that's him. That's why it is so important for someone to remind us that we may be doing actually pretty good and we just don't notice it. For almost a decade I'm in management. I've seen this pattern again and again in myself and in others. That's why I want to show you 7 signs that you may be already ahead of most managers. It is 29th of October and this morning I launched my very first product for managers. I cannot believe I'm saying this. It was a roller coaster. I've never done anything like this before, but I'm so proud how it turned out. It's called Manager's Map, and it's basically a comprehensive webinar that gives you a full picture of manager's job from A to Z. Because you know what's the single biggest problem all of us managers so struggle with? Is that when we became managers, no one ever bothered to sit with us and properly explain what the role is actually about. So we figure it out on our own and end up with experience, but not the holistic system behind it. This webinar is basically a shortcut to a role, and I myself spent stupid amounts of time, energy, and money into collecting all of this knowledge and many years to form a system out of it. So now I took it all, compacted it in a webinar, I added some workbooks, some checklists, and finally I'm ready to give it to you. Check the link below and consider exploring Manager's Map. You no longer chase being liked. Have you ever been, going to a one-to-one conversation with someone where you need to give this person a constructive feedback and you already anticipate that person will be not happy about it, and you yourself, you don't derive any happiness from telling people where they did wrong. And it's actually not even an easy thing to do because you have to balance being honest but still kind of caring for them. It's mentally demanding and it's just not something that many of us would just do as a hobby, But you go and you do it anyway because you value helping this person with your feedback, even if it happens at the expense of them not liking you. Because most people don't enjoy receiving a constructive feedback. Even when we know it's helpful, it's still on emotional level, uncomfortable, nothing you can do about it. So you choosing to do it is not about you being like cold or not empathetic. It's actually about you being mature as a manager. You stop seeking for approval and you choose to do what is right, even if it's not necessarily what is nice. You split in your mind, let's say, being friendly. Maybe friendly is not the right word. You split having good intentions and be comfortable or always saying something that people would be happy and would enjoy hearing from you. Because leadership is when sometimes we have to survive internal discomfort because this will serve someone else, because this will help someone else. In a way, this is a shift from, let's say, focus on your self-image to the purpose. Why do you even do leadership work in the first place? You can calmly say, I don't know. It's like when you're sitting in a meeting and someone is asking you and everyone looks at you because you're the manager and you're the one who's supposed to know the answers. And you look at them and instead of trying to come up with at least something for you to save your face or for whatever reason, you just say, I don't know, let's figure out together. And hopefully you're not panicking and not dying inside in this moment. For some reason, when we acknowledge that we don't know something, it is sometimes perceived as a weakness, which is like a futile logical statement. It doesn't make any sense because we all understand that it's impossible to know everything. And actually being able to acknowledge that you don't know something honestly, openly, it's a sign of maturity and not a weakness. But also think about this. When we say, I don't know this, but let's find out, it even sounds more reliable than confidence that is not backed up by any facts. It creates trust between us and our teams. It creates a feeling of psychological safety. Also because you as a manager, as a person in a position of power, you have more influence on others. And when you show others the example that you may not know something, the next time when your direct report, when someone in your team will be asked a question that they don't know the answer to, they will feel more comfortable comfortable saying, oh, I actually don't know. And we prefer it much more than if they would come up with the quick lie just to save their faces in front of us. You have no idea how many bad leadership decisions are rooted in this fear of being perceived as not confident enough or not smart enough or not something enough. If you are able to say, I don't know, good job, I applaud you. You notice unfairness. Like when, for example, one person takes the recognition on behalf of the whole team, or when, you have one person in a team who's really hardworking and someone takes credit for their work. Maybe you've even been in the situation yourself when someone happened to take credit for your work. There are people who are just very good at talking and not doing, and there are so many people who are fantastic professionals, but they're so bad at self-marketing, so basically sometimes they struggle to even advocate for themselves even when they did a good job. But the thing is, it is very convenient not to notice, especially if you're a manager. Many managers choose not to see it. They only look at the end results and not at the costs that it took to produce this end result. If you notice this disbalance and you react, even when it's uncomfortable, which is always uncomfortable, then it's already a sign of a good leadership. So you're trying your best to recognize people who actually invested their best efforts. And if you're doing that, your team is happy to have you. You care about people beyond metrics. Like, for example, when you have someone in your team who is like really, tired, exhausted, maybe burned out, squeezed like a lemon, your first thoughts when you see that is not about, oh, I wonder what type of KPIs they will produce, not about they will screw up my metrics. Your first thoughts are, how are they doing? Is there anything that I can do to help them and support them? Because they obviously seems like they're having a hard time. Or maybe when you decide to cancel the meeting that you may even need, but you just see that the team is, like they're hanging on the last thread and you're like, okay, no, this would be too much for them. Let them focus on what's more important or rest. I can survive without this meeting. Have you ever done this? If your answer is yes, then most probably you understand that sometimes a good leadership decision is not in how increase the productivity, but in how reduce the stress. Because people are not resources. They are, first of all, human beings, and second of all, they are part of the system that you manage. Which means that it's not enough for us to only look at the numbers. We need to look at the context, energy level, burnout, all of it. Because yes, maybe if we will just push them a little bit more right now, they will indeed produce more result that you will need in this exact day. But this is just not sustainable. I'm even setting aside a part that is just... What's the appropriate word to put this, huh? Even if we set aside what, let's say, would be the right thing to do from the moral point of view, it's not even the right thing to do from the business and pragmatic point of view, because you invested so much in your team, you hired them, you invested in their onboarding, in their learning. You want for them to work comfortably and produce good results. Hopefully, not just today, but also tomorrow and many days after. Caring is not the opposite of efficiency. It's actually a condition for efficiency. And if you as well think about people beyond the numbers of the results that they produce, great job. You take responsibility for the context and not only the output. Imagine that you have a project that failed miserably. What is the easiest thought that comes to managers' minds in this moment? It is usually... who screwed up? Who is guilty that it happened? But you may think at this moment, okay, what could I have done differently as a manager for this not to happen? And the difference between those two is huge. Because instead of running and looking for whom to blame, first, you reflect about yourself, but second of all, you look for where the system failed. Not many managers understand that team is a mirror of the environment that you as a manager created. Many managers are looking for someone to blame because it is simply easier. Then go and see, where do you have the problems in the system? Where do you have problems with the culture? Where are your processes not good enough? Where people don't have enough guidance, don't have understanding of the strategy, have conflicting priorities, burned out. It's just so much easier to sit on the manager's chair and say, yes, we did not succeed because the team is not good enough. And sometimes the team is indeed not good enough. But as a manager, you also need to take responsibility for that. Because you have more influence over how your people do the job. And if you acknowledge that, reflect on that, especially when something is not going well, and even take responsibility for that, this is a sign of a leadership maturity. You can hold two truths at once. Like, for example, you have an employee who actually, honestly, genuinely puts their best effort, but the result was still not good. And you can acknowledge their efforts, but also acknowledge the problem. Without saying, for example, oh, you put so much effort, but it was still not enough. No. And the other way around, without saying, yeah, we didn't make it, but you tried so hard, so great job, right? Like, both of the ways are not, it's not giving a justice to the person and to the situation. This is a level, if you can do that, it means that maybe you stop looking at the world in black and white. You stop splitting the world into someone who is 100% wrong in something and 100% correct in something. It is actually really difficult to see the contradictions without falling into one of the extremes. And if you can do that, it's a sign of a cognitive maturity in a way, that you are able to hold the complexity. And this is mandatory if you want to lead adults, human beings. We manage complexity. People who report to us sometimes manage complexity. It is impossible to navigate all of that if you always want to split the world between someone who is 100% right and someone who is 100% wrong. We need to have a space for contradictions. You think systems, not tasks. Imagine that you're at the office, the deadlines are approaching, a lot of work, priorities piling up on you, it's madness. And at some point, you just pause for some reason, and then the next request hits you, you look at it and you think, hold on, why is this even happening? What is the reason why the workload is so disbalanced? Or maybe when you start noticing that inefficiency is not only because of the people, but sometimes because of the structure of the process of how imperfectly it's designed. When we move from thinking tasks to thinking systems, we kind of stop curing the symptom and focus on the root cause. Or at least we start looking for a root cause. Because people, the decisions they make, the processes they design and follow, all of this is connected. So if you move from always thinking how to just make what is in front of you faster, to thinking about, okay, why is this even important? Is it designed in the best way? What will happen if we won't do it or we'll do it differently? This is a fundamental shift from thinking tasks to thinking systems. It is when you go from reactive thinking to more strategic thinking. Hey, editing me here. I realized that I completely forgot to record the ending for this video. So first of all, if you recognize any of the 7 signs in you, you're doing amazing. I'm proud of you. And second of all, consider exploring Manager's Map. I know that this is a product that can help a lot of people. And if eventually you will derive any value from it, that's the only thing that I can hope for. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.